Hey, Chris.
Yes, Dan.
Remember when we first started being mates back in the late 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and you said you like Dream Theater and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? They suck.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All the bands you like suck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you go outside?
Hey?
Do you go outside?
Oh, no. We've got to do it all. I'm going to tweet about it first.
Oh, okay, right.
And then I'm going to contact the local music press. That ain't me.
Right.
And
I hate Kiss, by the way.
Oh, look, mate, that's just...
And Bruce Springsteen sucks.
Really, mate. I mean, come on. You wouldn't know good music if it came up and bit you on the arse, okay? Chris and I got beef because we're going with everything in the world at the moment.
Everything.
And you go away for a couple of weeks. You put your podcast, you go away for a week or so, and boom.
And well, you're mad.
You think no one listens? Rock and roll doesn't mean anything anymore, and no one cares about what rock and roll is doing. And then what happens? Bloody Neil Young and Spotify.
Crazy. Absolute crazy.
This is actually a little bit nuts.
Mm.
What do you think of all that happened? At first, I wanted to just kind of... I don't want to go into this pro-vax, anti-vax thing.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's not anything I want to go into. And I was trying to sort of like ignore it, but after a while...
You can't.
You can't. We couldn't.
And we are a music podcast, so we're going to talk about music coming from Spotify or Apple Music, whatever it is. And this type of thing is just... the whole thing's crazy to me. But...
it says so much about Spotify itself.
Well, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
For those who don't know, you've been asleep, but Joe Rogan's on Spotify. He had some people on there, which is a normal thing to do on a podcast. He
gets 11 million listeners per week.
That's
huge.
Bigger than
massive.
The next 10 or so shows in America. He's bigger than all those put together.
He has a huge reach.
He does. So he has people on his show talking about COVID. And people come out and, like Neil Young comes out and says, well, you're talking about misinformation. We want to take my music off Spotify if you keep this going.
You can have Young or Rogan, but you can't have both. He delivered an ultimatum to Spotify.
Which Spotify said, fine, see you later. Which I thought was fair enough. Why would you not have Joe Rogan, who you just paid a lot of money for, over someone who's... I guess some people have been saying it has been. I still think his music's pretty good for its time. But
Neil Young?
Neil Young.
I think he's still bringing out great music.
He does.
I'm a Neil Young fan. I love him.
Yeah, so it's not a matter of he's washed up or anything. He's still Neil Young. He's done what he's done. He's got a great catalogue, but which he sold recently for $150 million.
Is that all he got for it?
To a company called BlackRock.
Yeah, BlackRock. Oh, BlackRock. They own everything almost.
Well, they... if you look back into them,
how does he?
They own Amazon.
How does he sell his stuff to BlackRock?
Yeah, I know.
Yet he's got objections to Spotify.
I know.
I don't understand.
If you look
I don't understand, Chris.
Some of BlackRock investors are Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Google.
Yeah, BlackRock kind of own everything.
So that's pretty wise. They're going, well, we don't own Spotify, so let's get rid of them.
Yeah.
But how he could actually do that to himself by saying, take my music off, but he doesn't own it, is kind of funny.
He seems that he doesn't seem to care.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But the BlackRock senior advisor is a guy called Jeffrey Kindler. And he was the former CEO and chairman of Pfizer.
All right, we're not going to draw that. That's a long bow to draw. That is a long bow to draw.
It is true.
Righto.
So you have to look at what's going on behind the scenes and think, well, why is Neil Young doing this to the point he is? But then other people like Joni Mitchell jumps on board. A guy called Nils
Lofgren.
From E Street Band.
And he also now plays in Crazy Horse. He played guitar on Neil's latest album. Barn, which is a really cool record. Okay, yeah. And Nils is a really good guitarist,
All these people are coming out and saying, just take my music off Spotify.
All Canadian too. I think Nils is Canadian, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know Joni is.
Oh, is she? Yep.
Yeah, Joni Mitchell's Canadian.
But yeah, you can't just I found it funny. I was saying the other day to someone, that Neil Young and Joni Mitchell were part of that era back in the day where they wanted free speech and are fighting for it. You know, the hippie kind of people they were in the 50s, 60s, and now they're saying this kind of stuff. What's going on?
We've reached a very strange time in the world.
We have.
I do believe. Free speech, has it been hijacked by the right? We don't know. There's always someone trying to suppress something in somebody's expression now to the point where you almost can't say anything about anything. Now, at the time, look, I listen to Joe Rogan, but I don't adhere to everything that Joe Rogan has on his show. I find the 3 to 4 hour conversations can get a little tiresome, but he has some interesting people on, and I do think he has interesting people doing interesting viewpoints and stuff like that. I prefer it though when he speaks to someone in the entertainment field because I get more out of that. But still, I enjoy. He's had some really good guests, and I think he's always tried to express that thing of being open-minded. COVID has changed so much, and so when Joe Rogan comes out and says, well, I'm not going to get vaccinated, and if you're young and healthy, you shouldn't, and I'm going to take a combination of things, and I got better, it's hard to sort of like take from the message that, well, Joe is anti-vax or anything like that. Now, he puts on people, and Neil Young's got a thing about vaccination. He had polio as a kid, and the polio vaccination, as I said, I don't want to get into vaccinations and things like that. But now it's coming out, an artist named India Arie, and a lot of people are going, who is India Arie? She's been around for a while.
I didn't know who she was either.
Yeah, very African-American R&B artist. She came out and said all the times he has said the N-word on his show. And now that can of worms has kind of gone kabloom for Joe Rogan.
But again, he's now apologised for that, and he did it quite well, I think, and I don't think Spotify will get rid of him for that, but apparently they did take down a lot of his podcasts.
Well, I don't care about the context. He didn't need to use the word as such. And Trevor Noah has now come out with something that I thought was actually, I don't want to say it, but Trevor Noah's actually found some footage of Joe Rogan saying something really, really bad
About the movie?
Yeah,
I saw it too.
I was a bit, that one shocked me a bit too. So, but Joe Rogan has got to, you know, it's not up to me and it's not up to anyone else. We can call him on it or whatever, but now whatever goes on with Joe Rogan goes on with him and Spotify. But this is the thing. I thought India Arie made a really good point when she took her music off. Did you see the one where she said,
but money?
Yes.
Yeah.
That one really got me, and I think this is where the artists are going to step up a little bit, and Spotify might find themselves in a little bit of, I don't know if they're going to find themselves in hot water or something, because if you go over to Apple Music, if you said, we've got all of Neil Young's catalogue on Apple Music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come to us, we've got all of Neil Young's music. And apparently Neil Young's music has gone up in streaming and sales and everything.
Yeah, because people want to know who he was.
Yeah, and also
people who stream don't really know who he is.
I'm a Spotify user, and so I'm a bit disappointed because now all my Neil Young.
Well, I'm only a Spotify user. I've always been an Apple Music user, but I'm only using Spotify now because of Joe Rogan's show.
Yeah.
So if he disappears, I'm off Spotify because I don't need Apple Music and Spotify, and I've got Apple Music for a long time. So Spotify's gone. About
the music though, about the money, because we didn't explain that. India Arie said that, you know, I'm getting paid 0.003 cents a stream, and that's all Spotify want to pay me. Yeah, they're going to pay Joe Rogan $100 million, and she's kind of gone, well, where's my money?
Yeah.
But this is what I want to say about Spotify. Wouldn't you love to get a job at Spotify, Chris? And I'll tell you why. What other job is there out there in the world where you could openly call on your employers to, you know, I'm not going to work for you unless you take off Joe Rogan. I'm not going to work for you unless you remove these people from Spotify. I'm not going to, and they could get out there in public and speak like that.
And
when was the last job you had where you were allowed to do that, Chris?
Well, the last jobs I've had, apart from what I've got now, is all government. So you can't say anything about the government.
Yeah, you can't say anything about the government when you work for the government.
Even if it is bad.
I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it.
But I think everyone has a little bit. I think any job, any retail job, you can't get out and say, of course they suck, because your place where you work sucks. But it just seems like Spotify's allowed. It's part of your contract. If you don't
you can diss us whenever you like.
Yeah, and there will be no repercussions.
Yeah.
So I want a job at Spotify.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I do. I want to be able to tell my CEO, not just the boss, the CEO of the company, what I think of them through whatever social media platform I can have.
That's funny.
And that's what I want. So that's where I stand on Spotify now.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed with the way it happened. I've always been a bit of a Spotify user because I find it easier to use. But probably with you, Chris, my favourite podcast, which was the last podcast on the left, was only on Spotify. And that was probably one of the reasons why I went there. But now that they're now back on all the other platforms, I may move along.
Yeah. Well, that's the same with me. I don't need Spotify if I've got Apple Music and Joe's on there. So
yeah, and that's probably what will happen, But you like Joe Rogan, so yeah, there you go. That's been
I'm driving the truck for 7 hours a day. Joe Rogan's 3-hour conversation with different people is very interesting, and it keeps you entertained pretty much the whole time. So you learn something. But again, I don't listen to every podcast he does. I'm not always interested in every guest he has, but I like the ones he has with musicians. I love.
Yeah, the ones with musicians have been great. I think it was one he did with the guys from the Black Keys where they talked about the music industry. Billy Corgan.
Yeah, that was good.
Has he talked to
James Hetfield?
James Hetfield. He's talked to James.
That's when I found out James was into beekeeping.
James has got to try and do anything he can to keep himself from drinking. Beekeeping is one of those. I don't know. Why would you do beekeeping?
I have no idea. Anyway, it's interesting. It's like you're there with them.
I know. Because that's what it is. It comes down to a conversation.
Yeah.
I like the one he did with Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, when Dan makes it. Because Dan will only go on something if he can plug his vodka.
Yeah.
I love that.
And they drink on the show.
And they drink on the show, and he talks in great detail about how they make this vodka. And all I do is sit there and go, I want to drink Dan Aykroyd's vodka.
The Mike Tyson ones are good, and Elon Musk has been pretty good.
Yeah.
I like them all. Most of them.
There you go. Spotify, though. I mean, are any more artists going to come off? I mean, I'd love to see some independent artists go, that's it, I'm taking my music off Spotify and see if anyone cares,
That's funny, but tried.
Yeah, whereas people are going to look at the financial thing, because in the end, money talks in all ways.
Yeah. And now Rumble's offered Joe Rogan $100 million for 4 years to go across to them.
Rumble?
Yeah, which is like the YouTube opposite, like the new YouTube.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, so they've offered him, you come across here, everything, no issues with any of your podcasts.
See, that would have been part of Rogan's, that would have been totally part of his contract.
Yeah.
Which would have been, look, when I come to Spotify, I want to do it on my own. No edits to the show, no anything. That would have been part of his contract. And as soon as he gets there and he interviews Alex Jones, and everyone goes, all the employees go, no, why will I work for a company that has Alex Jones on? And my thing is, I think Alex Jones is a dickhead, but you know what? Put him on Joe Rogan, and I want to know why he's a dickhead. Yeah. That's the thing. But they go, no, he's spreading hatred and stuff like. Wow, I want to work for Spotify. Wow.
Anyway.
What a place to go to have a whinge.
Let's change subject to Spotify, eh?
Oh, okay.
It's a crazy world we live in.
I told you I had some thoughts.
Yeah, you did. Well, it's everywhere at the moment, so you might as well talk about it. But yeah. You're a Kiss fan.
Yes. And guess what?
Got postponed again.
Again.
And all because of one state.
Perth, Western Australia. The rogue state. A separate country, if you speak. If you are listening to us
Build a wall.
Build the wall. Gosh, they did, didn't they? That rabbit-proof fence, they've just got to now seal it.
Yeah.
Oh, Western, Mark McGowan.
So, yeah.
You know, the Batuta Advocate does call it the rogue state, the hermit kingdom, and they basically have become that.
Yeah.
You know, 45% of Australia's money comes from WA. So,
For the mines, yeah.
from the mines. So.
But they've postponed again, so that's how many times now?
This is the first one. They were supposed to hear November last year. Now, this is the second postpone. Oh no, this is the third one, because the first one, Paul Stanley got sick.
Right, okay.
That's right. The first one, Paul Stanley got sick. Then they put it to November. Wow. So this is the third postponement for Kiss. Because as Paul Stanley said, if we can't play to our fans in Perth,
we're not coming
till we can.
Yeah.
Every other band has totally left Perth in the way, except good old Kiss.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is the world. Why are they booking tours still?
Mm.
You know, I mean, Guns N' Roses are still supposed to be here in November.
Yep.
You know, you got to hope that that's still going to go ahead.
Hopefully. Well, election soon, so that might change a few things when people want to get votes. They make things nicer for the voters.
Are we really going to get into politics now?
No, that's what I'm saying. It might just change things.
It might, actually.
Other news, Kirk Hammett.
He's brought out a solo EP, hasn't he?
He's going to. It's going to come out on April 23rd. It comes out.
Okay.
It's a 4-song EP. So
has James let him do it, has he?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Last time this happened, the guy quit.
Yeah, Jason Newsted, he quit the band.
This fella here. He quit the band after that happened because he was in a band called Echo Brain and James didn't like it. So he put on the word and said you can't be in both kind of thing. But this is a solo album. I don't think it's got singing. I think it's more music orientated.
Can't believe it's taken him this long to do it. Probably because James wouldn't let him.
Yeah, maybe. But it's also got to do with his love of monsters and horror.
He's got this whole range of guitars coming out.
He's already had a bunch of guitars coming out with different graphics on them.
Yeah.
But he has this massive big art collection and a massive big horror section of collection of all these different things from movies from the olden days.
Yeah.
So this is what he wants to put this music to that when he goes and does a show with that, like a museum kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a, I guess you could call it a, what do you call it? Cinematography kind of.
Cinematographic.
Cinematographic kind of music behind his show.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm looking forward to hearing it, actually. It's called Portals. Yeah, like I said, 4 songs, and Bob Rock's producing.
Only 4 songs, though?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't got more in him.
Well, it depends how long your museum show's going to be, I guess.
Depends how long the songs are. There could be 4 10-minute songs for all we know. But it is only an EP, so it's not a full album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to be looking forward to checking that one out.
Yeah, I will too. I like new things like that. As long as he stays in the band. Foo Fighters.
Have you seen the trailer for their movie?
Yes.
Doesn't that look funny?
Oh, I don't think I'll watch it.
So yeah, 666. I'm going to watch that. That looks like stupid fun.
Yeah,
it
will
like
be stupid fun. I don't think I'll get through it, to be honest. I normally can't handle shows like that for very long.
All right.
Movies like that. I normally go, right, I'm done.
Okay.
So we'll see how we go. But
yeah,
it does look a bit fun, but we'll see how we go.
Okay then.
But they are doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what is this? Because it's not technically the Super Bowl halftime show.
They're not playing halftime show. They're doing, I think, a lot of hip hop artists are doing.
Yes, it's Eminem, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, and I believe Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're doing the.
But I did hear
the halftime show.
I did hear that I worked for a radio station, and one of the announcers was invited to Snoop Dogg's pre-Super Bowl party. Snoop Dogg being an LA Rams fan, of course. Imagine how much fun that would be.
That would be good.
That would be a good party. Go to Snoop Dogg's pre-Super Bowl party. That would be awesome.
Imagine. Well, he's been on Joe Rogan too. That was good.
Oh, yeah, I like Snoop Dogg. Anyway, what's this metaverse, though? Well, am I so out of touch?
Foo Fighters are playing the Super Bowl halftime show in the metaverse.
Now, the metaverse is the new Facebook company.
Well, it's their virtual reality kind of world.
Who, Facebook's or?
Facebook's. Well, Metaverse is a company that owns Facebook. They just changed their name, but they've created this whole new world in the middle of, you put your headpiece on and you go there and start a life when you haven't got a life of your own outside of the reality.
So it's like the movie Ready Player One.
Yeah, kind of.
Pretty much. If they've said, oh yeah, I figured that was going to happen.
Yeah, so they're going to be playing the first show ever in the metaverse. Which is just crazy.
During the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Don't know want anyone to watch it.
Well, people will. Put their headsets on. Kids, probably.
I don't know. Well, I mean, what's the point of it? Like the Super Bowl is the most watched show
Halftime show, yeah.
Well, just the show. The whole
Well, if you
Super
can't
Bowl.
get onto the halftime show, let's create something else to people away from that, you know?
I suppose.
So Foo Fighters up for everything. They do everything. Like I said, they're going to do a movie very shortly. So and some of their video clips are really funny. So they might as well be the first to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
Play a gig in the metaverse.
yeah.
You can buy land there. Like, it's crazy.
And really,
You need to get on it. Anyway, that's
it's like
Foo Fighters.
NFTs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I understand what it is. It's just I understand what an NFT is. I just don't get why I would want to purchase one.
That's a whole other story, and
Yeah.
not asking me the right questions.
But it's like when you say you can buy land in the metaverse, it's like,
yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah, real estate and everything. Yeah.
What the hell?
Well, when you're Mark Zuckerberg, you can do whatever you like when you haven't.
Well, he just lost $320 billion on the stock market, though. So I'm sure that, the Foo Fighters budget might be like pinched a little bit.
Other news, John Mellencamp and your friend Bruce Springsteen. Have you heard their new song together?
I just heard it, Chris.
So John Mellencamp has Bruce on a couple of his songs on his new album. And one of the songs is called Did You Say Such a Thing?
Did you say such a thing?
And it's come out that it's very similar to a Van Halen song called Finish What You Started off the OU812 album.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to it.
Did you know that title was a reference to David Lee Roth?
No.
You didn't know that?
OU812.
Yeah. Because what was the name of David Lee Roth's first solo album?
Edmund Smile.
And it flopped. And so what
Oh,
did Van
yeah.
Halen do? OU812.
Yeah,
There you go. He now knows something. So do you.
So, if you listen to the song, and I'm a huge fan of Van Halen, obviously, and Finish What You Started is a great song. As soon as I heard the opening riffs of this song with John Mellencamp and Bruce Springsteen, I went, yep, it sounds the same. And I played it to you a little bit before we started filming today. And what are your thoughts?
I thought it sounded like a country twanged version of that song.
Yep. So,
It's like I mean, the way Eddie played it, it was almost a chicken scratch kind of sound to it. When I think about it, when I listen to that, it's like, yeah,
chicken picking kind of
chicken
guitar
picking
song,
kind of guitar, it was that sort of thing. And
the sound of the guitar was it was a really strange guitar he used back then too for that video clip.
was it really? I
Yeah,
can't
so
remember.
it was actually a really twangy kind of.
No, it's got that twangy Fender Telecaster. Well, Bruce plays the Fender Telecaster, and Chris and I know about guitars. So once we start talking about different tones of guitars, you just know.
It is, I think, a bit of a rip-off, but
Did you like listen to Iron Maiden songs and trying to figure out when it's Dave Murray playing and when it's Adrian Smith playing?
it's pretty hard.
It's not easy, but you can do it.
You can, but it's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard.
'Cause they don't play that differently in their guitar style.
No,
Like
but one plays the Les Paul and the other plays the Stratocaster.
even back then they weren't doing Les Pauls. They were both doing Jackson and one was a Fender.
Yeah.
So yeah, both Stratocasters for a long time. But anyway,
Anyway, we're digressing.
so yeah, we are. I think it's a bit of a rip-off, but the problem with that is there's only so many notes and chords in a song. What do? You know? Are you always going to somehow fumble over something that you've heard in the past? You were saying before the show.
We've had this conversation before on the podcast. Remember we talked about the whole thing of ripping off songs and the Marvin Gaye thing. I always go back to the Marvin Gaye song because that was where it kind of got gets a bit weird and
Obvious.
Not so much obvious, but it was just the way the judge ruled in favour of Marvin Gaye's family.
True.
When you kind of go, okay, now they're just sort of grabbing the vibe of the song, and they're winning lawsuits against that. Tom Petty did sue Sam Smith.
Yeah, he did.
For Won't Back Down, the Sam Smith song. I can't remember even the name of it, but Sam Smith had to credit Tommy. We said before I went on air, I told you the story that Keith Richards wrote in his autobiography when he was playing the Voodoo Lounge album to his daughters, and the song came on, Has Anybody Seen My Baby? And the girl said, oh, you covered a Katie Lang song. And Keith went, what? And when the girls put on Constant Craving, and he went, oh, Mick, what have you done? Because you pointed out that, didn't anyone in the studio sort of say to John or Bruce, hey,
this sounds like
that's that Van Halen song.
Yeah. And there are enough musicians in there to have, at least one of them would have heard the song from Van Halen, so you would think they would know it.
Well, the biggest thing I got from that song?
What?
John Mellencamp has smoked a lot of cigarettes.
His voice has changed a lot since the
Whoa,
olden days.
he's no longer that guy who sang all those cool songs in the 80s. He sings like this. I'm waiting for the tracheotomy for him to start singing through that. Boy, he's 70 years old, but he has smoked a lot of cigarettes.
He has. And it's obvious.
Eh?
It's obvious.
Oh, big time, big time, big time.
But anyway, have a listen to that song and see what you think of it. If you do know the Finish What You Started song.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think. But the other thing is, we're talking about this before too, fighting.
Oh, beef, more beef.
More beef. Nicky Sixx and Eddie Vedder come out.
Oh, my gosh. Handbags at 10 paces, ladies. Here we go.
So
Eddie Vedder and Nicky Sixx at each other's throats. Oh.
It started with Eddie Vedder.
But let's give it... Eddie Vedder was talking about when he first started trying to get into music, because he was from San Diego.
Yep. And he was, a roadie.
Roadie. And he said he used to roadie for all those LA hair metal bands who, let's face it, they were all a bunch of dickheads. If you don't believe me, you can get on YouTube and check out The Decline of Western Civilization 2, The Metal Years. Have you ever watched that doco?
No.
Oh, Chris, that's a homework. That's a homework assignment for you.
I'll watch it.
I'll tell you, you must.
I do my homework. I don't think you do.
No, I just wing it. I cannot believe you haven't seen that documentary. That'll make you realise why grunge happened. It's really, it's about the LA scene, and you just realise, my God, this was real. And no one comes across looking like, the only person who comes across looking good is Lemmy.
Oh, really?
Because Lemmy didn't care what you did. He said, Lemmy said in the whole thing, yeah, run up the flagpole, see what people think. But you know, it's almost embarrassing.
Yeah.
There's this, they interviewed this one young band called Odin, and they said, we're gonna make it, and if I don't make it, I'm gonna kill myself. And Penelope Spheris is asking, but what if you don't make it? No, you don't understand. I'm gonna make it. But what if you don't make it? But what? No, you don't understand. Well, I'm gonna make it, because if I don't, that's it. And you think, I thought to myself, whoa, Odin never made it.
Is he still around?
I have no idea, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But yeah, you watch this. But anyway, you'll see that these guys were just, yeah, absolute morons. And I think Eddie would look at these guys, he'd roadie for them, and he'd think, I'm so much, these guys, there's nothing here that interests me. Why am I here trying to start a music career in LA when this is what I have to do? I have to wear spandex and do my hair and all that sort of stuff, put makeup on, and he didn't like the way they treated women, which was a big thing. And actually, going back to Penelope Spheris, she said, and she directed Wayne's World, if you want to know where, she said she wanted to make that documentary after seeing the Girls video, because she believed that it took women's live back 20 years.
Okay.
And then she went to the LA scene and just found, because she didn't, the original Decline of Western Civilization was about the hardcore punk scene. And then LA just completely changed during the 80s. And it was this metal scene that was completely different to the hardcore punk scene. And yeah, I think it was when Eddie went to Seattle and he kind of went, these are my people.
Yeah.
This is what it's, but he said he felt the most interesting band was Jane's Addiction. And he did say in the interview, I hated Motley Crue. I despised them. They were everything I hated in music. And I think that's a fair enough comment.
Yeah, I hated how they look. And I hated how it made the fellas look.
Yep.
And I hated how it made women look.
Yep.
That's what he tweeted. So, about Motley Crue. But then Nicky reads it and tweets back. And he says, made me laugh today reading how much the singer in Pearl Jam hated Motley Crue. Now, considering they are one of the most boring bands in history, it's kind of a compliment. Isn't it?
Oh,
and then he went and,
Nicky, really?
Nicky went and compared Eddie's vocals to singing with marbles in your mouth.
Oh, right. He's got Vince Neil as his singer, so
yeah. But Vince Neil was good.
Well, he was.
He's not
never
now.
good. He's never good.
He was all right. He didn't put it.
All right, Nicky. Let me ask you a question, Nicky. You're a 60-year-old man. Why do you want to do this? Do you need the publicity? You just let it ride. Let Eddie Vedder just say that back then he despised Motley Crue. But now all Nicky says, well, it's 2022. Do you still despise us now? And Eddie's probably going to go, yeah, I still don't like you. Because I think Eddie's now come back with some good tweets, like showing a crowd at a Pearl Jam concert going nuts and saying, yeah, we're the most boring band in the world, aren't we? And he said the other night at his show, he's got a pretty good backing band. You read them out to me the other week, you know, with Josh Klinghoffer on guitar and Chris Chaney from Jane's Addiction on bass. I can't remember who the other guitarist is, and Chad Smith on drums. And Chad Smith was doing his thing, and Eddie made a comment at the show about, hey, my drummer here, he's the heart and soul of this band, doesn't need a rotating drum kit to make him sound good, does he? So, but I think, why, guys? Just
leave it alone. Stop
leave it alone.
There's so much crap going on in the world anyway.
Oh,
and I think the rotating drum kit's a cool thing.
Oh, look, if you go see Motley Crue in concert, it's a pretty fun thing to watch.
They have a pretty good show.
They do have a pretty good show. So, you know, I
just leave it alone, guys. You know, they don't need to comment.
Yeah, but it does. It reminds me of back in 1992 when Nirvana got huge.
Oh, with Axl.
And the beef between Axl Rose and Kurt Cobain. Courtney Love, as she would probably like to do at the backstage of the MTV Awards, had a crack at Axl. I said, oh, she's Spanish. She said something like, oh, hey, Axl, you know, hey, Axl, something or other. And Axl told Kurt, not Courtney, told Kurt, shut your bitch up or I'll shut her up for you. And it was on for young or old. No punches ever flew, but Kurt and Courtney just kind of went with that and made fun of Axl every chance they got. And Axl just responded with, I will beat you up. I will smack you. I will smack you up. And it was like, well, someone took the higher ground here and it wasn't Axl. And now, 30 years later, someone from the grunge camp and someone from the metal camp wants to have another fight. Yeah. Remember when they used to do Celebrity Deathmatch on MTV?
Oh, yeah, that was a long time ago.
I know. I mean, it wasn't ever good. I never liked it. I watched it and I'd go, yeah, it's stupid. But someone liked it and they okayed it and gave it money and stuff like that. But, yeah.
And you got a new generation now, Machine Gun Kelly, jumping in there with Corey Taylor.
Now, what happened there?
As far as I know, Machine Gun Kelly had actually requested Corey Taylor to come and sing a song on his new album. And Corey Taylor got the music and he got the lyrics given to him. Not actually, he wasn't allowed to write them. Machine Gun Kelly wrote them and gave them to him to sing. And he did a couple of recordings and didn't really like it. And once he found out he couldn't change anything, he kind of said, no, it's not really for me. That was the end of it. Then they played a gig recently, a big festival, and on one stage was Slipknot, and another stage at the same time was Machine Gun Kelly. And Machine Gun Kelly stopped during his gig and said, I'd rather be here right now than be a 50-year-old wearing a mask on stage. And that was said, obviously, about Slipknot, about Corey Taylor, but Corey Taylor didn't say anything about it for a while. But then he finally came out after all this stuff went about how he was kicked off his album and he didn't like what Corey Taylor came up with. Corey Taylor put out all his emails proving that Machine Gun Kelly was lying. It wasn't the case the way that he put it out, but they just started fighting. And then Corey Taylor stopped one of his shows and said, not a Slipknot show, but just said, I don't want to comment, but I will finally after all this time. He's been in the band. He's been on stage for 5 minutes compared to most of the bands. So just give it a rest, mate. You know, we've been doing this for a lot longer. You don't need to come out and start making enemies. And I think that was a pretty good thing to say. And that's the end of it so far as I've heard.
No, Corey said you can suck every inch of my dick.
I wasn't going to say that, but...
Well, I did.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, he said that, which I thought was a bit... oh, come on, Corey.
Yeah. Anyway.
It doesn't keep it interesting. Does it keep the whole rock scene interesting in a way that they're all fighting with each other? There's a part of me, I mean, it's given us something to talk about for a podcast.
Well, the thing is, too, you watch the news this day and age, and it's all just everyone hating each other. So I don't want to go listen to music and hear my people I like fighting with each other either. I'm not interested, but it kind of puts a bit of a sour taste in your mouth when you hear this kind of stuff.
It does.
It's meant to make you feel good, you know, music and all this fighting behind the scenes is just ridiculous. So, you know, someone like Nicky Sixx to take the higher ground would have been better, but he's gone through a lot in his life and he's come out succeeded and got through heroin and everything else. So why bother with even commenting? Yeah,
why give it oxygen, as they say? Yeah. Why give it oxygen?
And Eddie's allowed to have Vedder's allowed to have his opinion. He was younger. He was like, I don't like this scene. Just like Metallica when they first started, they didn't like the scene either, so I left and went to
San Francisco.
San Francisco. So you just leave and start somewhere else.
Yeah, they didn't belong.
Yeah, but they didn't like Bon Jovi, and then they told you that as well. But it's all just, anyway, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But nearly an episode finished, but let's just get on to our cool thing.
I'd like to play that Sonic Youth Grab. Cool things hidden with a pig.
What's the cool thing you got this week?
Oh, you go with me first.
Did you have one or not?
Oh, look, you know what? I got one just this second.
Okay.
Just this second.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I want to. Because you're talking about how there's a lot of fighting in the world and a bit of negativity. There's always is negativity in the world. But wouldn't you like to see a movie where you just laugh at stupid stuff? Mm-hmm. Jackass Forever is out. I am dying to see it. As far as I'm concerned, it's probably the coolest movie out there, and I haven't seen it. My daughter saw it the other day, and she said she laughed herself stupid. And she said there were moments where she couldn't watch. And I've read lots of reviews, and some of my favourite reviewers on YouTube have watched it, and all said the same thing. In a world where we're in today, isn't it nice to just go see a movie to laugh at people doing stupid stuff? There's no message. There's no, there's no other outlying thing. It's just grown men
being idiots
and hurting themselves for your entertainment. And I've always been a fan of that. I've liked Jackass from the beginning, and there's no R in it. I get pissed off when Australians say jackass. There's no R in it. It's jackass. But anyway, jackass means donkey. Oh, Australians.
Yeah.
No wonder we're where we are.
Yeah.
Down the bottom of the world somewhere.
Thankfully. My cool thing.
Oh, your cool thing.
I watched a documentary the other day.
Which one?
The new one with Janet Jackson.
Oh, you did watch that?
I watched it.
Oh, what did you think?
So 4 episodes, each should go for 45 minutes.
Is it the one on Stan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I watched that the other day, and I thought, because I was a huge Janet Jackson fan when I was a kid.
You were? That's what I thought.
Posters of her on my wall. She was just stunning, but her music was just amazing back then, Rhythm Nation. And
her first 3 albums were great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Velvet Rope had its moments, but I think
self-titled was really good. But her video clips back then were great. They were like Michael Jackson little short movies, And I love that kind of thing. But her dancing and everything, and I saw her live once, and she was just phenomenal. But the biggest thing I took out of it, and it's good to see all this, video from back then when they were kids, family stuff that you'd never seen before, talking about the subjects of obviously Michael Jackson and other things and her dad. But the biggest thing I took out of it was her dad. How strict he was, but now she's saying they all have so much to owe him for what he did. You don't see it as a kid growing up, how strict he was making them do what they did, but they all now go, thank you kind of thing,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they appreciate what he did.
That's interesting because Michael never,
Yeah, but Michael probably would have changed his mind too as he got older and talked to his family a lot. They would have kind of she understood it, I think, as an adult now, with the kid as well.
That's an interesting take.
Because she has a child of her own. So
that's right, yeah.
Maybe that's helped her understand a bit more. But it was really good. It was really worth watching if you're a Janet fan, and I am, so I watched it. And,
I see the Lionsgate pictures of got this Michael Jackson biopic.
Okay.
I can't see it. Honestly.
No?
How are they really going to tackle Michael Jackson biopic with making it without making him look like a saint? First of all, who are you going to get to play Michael Jackson? This is the thing I think. What black actor is going to put himself through that transformation?
Yep.
And what white actor
would do that?
Would put themselves in blackface?
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it, and I don't want to know because I don't think I'd like to see this movie. I think you can't show them being these incredible saints like Bohemian Rhapsody kind of did.
Yeah.
There's dark side, but they're all these endorsed biopics. I'm just not into. Not into.
Like anyway, Tommy and
Pam and Tommy.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I could quickly go into it.
Okay.
I watched 2 episodes. I'm not going to watch any more.
I haven't seen any of it.
It's well made and well done, but I think there's the sight and sound. Well, there's nothing in it that I don't already know. I read the story and I know. Tommy was very open about it in the Dirt book. No one in the show comes off looking good. The girl playing Pamela Anderson, Lily James, is fantastic.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, she is fantastic. She is. That's one of those roles where I like to say you don't see the actor, you see the character, and that's exactly way Lily James is in that. You know, it's almost Oscar-worthy kind of performance, that kind of thing. But Sight and Sound, a well-regarded British film magazine, on their Facebook page had an article that said, all through the show, it's well made. They said the same thing, well made, well done, all that. But there's all this thing about Pamela keeps talking about consent. No one asked her for her consent. No one asked her if they could use this. It was stolen from them, and then a court allowed them to distribute it and make money from it. No one asked her. She didn't want this show made. She's actually said, she had nothing to do with it. I think Tommy's the same, but she's been very vocal in saying she didn't want to make it. Because, come on, she's got adult kids now, and she's possibly going to be a grandmother one day. They're going to want to keep revisiting this moment in her life that she probably wishes never happened. And as Sight and Sound said, this show's all about consent. Yeah, Pamela never gave her consent to make the show. So I suggest don't watch it if you're about that. And I kind of felt that. There was nothing in the show that made me want to keep watching it. And there was just something in the back of my mind. It's like, she just never, you know,
If she was part of it, it would be a different story. But she's not.
She's not.
And neither is Tommy.
Neither is Tommy. And as far as I'm concerned, let's not.
It's such an old story. Who cares?
And as I said, there's nothing in the show that you don't sit there and go, oh my God, really?
Yeah.
That happened? Nothing in that. So.
Anyway, that's the Music Bar Podcast, Season 2, Episode 5, done.
Oh my God, so much.
And
let's go to the car park. Ready to bring it on like Donkey Kong.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening. And
comment below, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll talk to you again next week.
See you later.
See ya.